Hey guys, it's Lastbrohican here, limping at you at a breathtaking 5 miles an hour, here to review the first game of this long Steam series, 7 Days to Die. Currently, this is one of my mid-tier games for me in terms of hours played, clocking in at 167 hours of gameplay time. 7 Days to Die is your open sandbox zombie game, throwing you, the player, into a vast world, either prefabricated or randomly generated, finding food, making items, making your fort, killing zombie dogs, whatever your heart contends. Right off the bat, one thing I'll give this game is that even though it is still in early access, after quite a few years it has really come a long way, and the devs are still pouring more and more content into it. If my admiration does not already give it away about how I feel about this game, you gotta give the devs some credit around the amount of work they have put into it, especially when we factor in the literal wasteland of Steam early access games that are currently out there. So hopefully someday soon we will actually see a fully released version of 7 Days to Die. But enough stroking the fun pip's ego, let's get down to brass tacks. We'll move right into the positives I have about this game. This is a game that truly allows you, the user, to experience one of the better cultured, Minecraft-ish open world survival games out there on Steam. No doubt in my mind, this game has a ton to offer in terms of character building and creation, base expansion, weapon creation and modification, vehicle creation. All of that and more is being offered in the game. And on top of that, updates to the games that allow you to see randomly generated scenes, city features, add some for amazing sights in this game. Honestly, there are some things you'll see in terms of the landscape that are truly breathtaking. And at least for definitely a few hours, you can find yourself totally immersed into this game, especially if you have a group of good people to go with. So on that last note, this is my second positive for the game, which is a positive and negative because it's such a strong one. And that is, this is a great game to play in multiplayer. If you have a couple buddies out there that are interested in a game like this, it's so much fun to go out for scavenging for items, clearing out zombies, building a base, defending it in the night when you have just hordes and hordes of zombies coming at you from a blood moon. All this is great fun and something that you can spend literal days doing. But that is where the negative comes in about it. In case you didn't notice, this was a segue into the negatives. So, touching on that last piece that I had, the negative that rolls into this game is how boring it can be just playing by yourself. Sure, this is some enjoyment in terms of finding out new content, or if you're really into the spirit of building things. I'm sure you can find fun in that and find fun in 7 Days. But for the most part, people like myself who play these open world games for the human element, this game almost requires that you have a group of buddies to play with. Otherwise, it's just a giant empty landscape with things that feel almost lifeless. Like the part of the life that is breathed into this game is through you and the multiplayer experience. The second negative I have about this game is that one that you'll find with many open world games, and that's just a general lack of direction. You survive, you build, you scavenge poop out of toilets, and then what? The reason why this negative for 7 Days is different than for some of the others like Rust or H1Z1 or any of those other ones that come to mind is that 7 Days doesn't really have the online community that supports servers with 100 plus people population, where there's like dynamic factions, like human interacted factions fighting each other and things like that. It just doesn't have that in this game. So nearly every time I find myself playing this game, after about 5 or so hours into it of a pretty run-of-the-mill match, I just kind of start asking myself, what am I doing here again? And what am I trying to accomplish? It just, the lack of direction, and sometimes if you just have a few buddies that you're playing with, it just, like, you can only just scavenge the same fabricated houses so many times and find enjoyment out of it. Alright, and on to the verdict. All in all, 7 Days is a really solid game with a solid dev team behind it, bringing in more and more content into this wacky and sometimes very silly game. But this is a game that requires friends to really enjoy. So you, if you're listening right now, or if you're reading this review, you gotta crawl out from under that rock of yours and actually talk to people that you know in real life or on the internet, and or join a community group on Steam or Reddit and see if anyone is interested in playing with your degenerate self. So if I had to give a rating to this game, I would give it a 3.5 G's out of 5 G's. It's a decent game, not a great game. But as you know, guys, that is all I have today. And this is Lastbrohican, and happy gaming, gamers.